I was just thinking, move my fingers really fast. So don't overthink that section. Hey everyone, and welcome back to another video. I recently started a new series here on YouTube called What Did I Play? And in this series, what I'm doing is basically analyzing solos that I've taken that people have transcribed. No, I don't sit around listening to my solos and I want to analyze them because I think they're amazing or something. But a bunch of people have done transcriptions of my solos, and a lot of people always ask me, pretty often actually, what'd you do here? What do you think about when you do this? Blah, 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 blah. And I never have a great answer because it's sometimes something specific they're asking me about that happened a while ago and I don't really know, or it's hard to text out an answer. So I figured, why not analyze literally what I played because I have it written in front of me. A lot of people have transcribed my stuff. So I was like, you know what? People want to hear my thoughts on this specific solo. I have the sheet music for the solo, so why not talk about it? In the first episode, I went over a solo saxophone version of It Could Happen to You that I did. You can check that out in the link in the description down below. That was episode 1 of the series. And in episode 2, I'm doing There Will Never Be Another You. Now, I've done a few different versions of this song on YouTube and other places, and there are a bunch of transcriptions of it. But the one I'm going to be doing today in this video is, I think it's called 10 out of 10 stank faces or something, because I was actually in Australia, shout out to Jeff Reed, a bunch of years back, maybe I think 2019 was the last time I was there, and I was giving a student there, a great saxophone player, young saxophonist, up and coming, Adrian, a lesson, and at the end of the lesson, we were just playing along with the backing track, and I filmed some of it, and I made a video, put it online. A lot of people seem to like it, so I'm going to be doing that today and talking about my solo. Speaking of the PDF of the transcription, I want to give it to you completely free so you can have it to practice or steal some lines or just look at while I'm going through this. The only thing you need to do is go to the link at the top of the description down below or the pinned comment, or just go directly to davepollack.com/TWNBAY. There will never be another you. Instead of typing that all out, I figured I would use the letters. So TWNBAY. And that's how you will get the transcription of this. You'll get the PDF and you'll have it for whatever you want to use it for. One more thing before I dive into the solo. Speaking of PDFs and speaking of practicing, and if you're ever wondering, what should you practice? I want to increase my technique. I want to get some new ideas for improvisation. I don't know about my sound and jumping around on the instrument. Well, I have a PDF book called Strictly Major, where there's 25 different exercises, all diatonic to major keys, and they're all written out in 12 keys. And I have that for sale on my website. You can get that 20% off using code Strictly Major. All you need to do to go get that is go to davepollack.com/store. There's also a link to that in the description down below. Pick it up today. Let's jump inside the solo now. All right, so as you see, we're here inside the PDF of the solo, and it says alto saxophone at the top because, well, I recorded it on alto. So David Goldberg, who transcribed it, by the way, shout out David Goldberg, he wrote it out in the key for alto because that's what I did it. I did it in concert E flat, so C on alto, so that's what we have here. So if you play a different instrument, you might have to do some transposing. First thing I'm going to do, for those of you who either haven't heard the solo yet or need a refresher or something, I'm just going to play the video and the audio, obviously, of the solo so you can hear it. I will scroll down on the PDF so you can follow along, and then I'm going to go back and I'll analyze it, line by line. By the way, this is, I wouldn't say super long solo, but, transcription-wise, it's like 4 pages, and there's a lot of stuff here. So if I don't get to every individual note, don't shoot me or anything, okay? If there are any spots in here that I skip over for time reasons or whatever, and you wanted me to go in more detail, just put a comment down below. And if enough people like that section, maybe I'll make another separate video on that, or I can just answer you separately. Either way, just let me know. So the first thing I'm going to do is just play the video so you can check it out, and then we're going to dive into the analysis. If you want to skip this part, if you've already heard it or you don't feel like hearing it again, and you want to just go right to the analysis, go to this timestamp right here, and that'll take you to right after I play this. Here we go. Okay. All right. So there's a lot of stuff in there. Like I said, I'm not going to analyze every individual note, but I'm going to try to hit the main things in there. It is funny listening back to this now. I haven't heard this in a long time. What I was thinking of that particular day. And that's also the funny thing about transcriptions or just solos, recordings in general. You're getting a snapshot of a particular moment in time. It's not like this solo was curated. I had been working 6 months crafting the perfect solo. No, it was, let's put on a backing track and I'm just going to blow over it and let's see what happens. So there's one specific harmonic thing, especially over the minor 2/5s. I do a lot in this. There's a lot of interval stuff. I don't really play that now. I don't know if that was just a that day thing or I was playing that a lot, but there's a lot of like jumping around. So I don't know. Maybe being upside down for 2 weeks in Australia messed with my head or something. So who knows? All right. So let's dive into this. So David also kindly put the chords above so it makes some harmonic sense. And let's get through it. So I'll play parts of it and then stop here and there. So I start off pretty chill. And oh, by the way, I'm playing with a backing track here. It's an iReal Pro track, so there's no interaction. So, as you go through and you listen to this might, let me say, not might. I wouldn't play this exact solo if I was playing with a rhythm section. I didn't leave a ton of space for the rhythm section to respond because I knew there is no rhythm section. And there's something to be said for like, okay, if you want to practice playing with rhythm section, maybe practice with a track and like pretend there's a rhythm section there and actually leave space. But in this case, I wasn't practicing for that. We were just playing, solos back and forth. So, you might say, hey, you didn't leave any space. And the answer is, yeah, I didn't. But I did the phrases that I wanted to play, and I knew that there was going to be nothing, of substance that the pre-recorded track is going to give me. So that's why. So here we go. I'll start from the beginning, and let's see what we got here. Sorry about that. End of the melody. Okay, so even right there, this is the sound I was talking about a lot. This sound right here, whenever it's a minor 2-5-1, so it's a 2-5-1 in A minor, that dominant chord, the 5 chord, the E7 flat 9 in this case, I'm using the sharp 11 of that. That's a very cool sound. I love that color, sharp 11 over a dominant chord in a minor 2-5. I use that a ton in this solo. And right there, I'm just doing a half note kind of thing in the beginning, and just leading up to the third here over the A minor. And then I play the natural 6th here, which is a sound I always like. So that's the harmony behind that. But starting with just half notes, just keeping it nice and relaxed is, I always like to kind of build the solo at that and then it, in the middle go crazy. But I usually don't start my solos too crazy for the most part. So even right there's a little motif. Bo-da-dee-da, ba-da-da-dee-da. So the A minor, G minor, I play motif. I play the 3rd down to the natural 6th. Here I play the 3rd down to the 5. So almost the same. Right there. So B-da-dee-da-da-dee-da. Just some outside notes. You might say, why did I play B natural over C7? But usually it resolves da-da-da. That would be an upper, lower enclosure. Upper, lower enclosure chromatically. C sharp, B natural to C natural, but I leave the space. That's something that I stole from Dick Oates many years ago, where he would play these phrases, and not resolve. And then he might just let the rhythm section take care of it, then start a new phrase, or he would resolve late. In this case, I resolved late. If you notice, there's the C that I was highlighting. I waited 2 beats. But this is all a motif. Be-da, be-do-dee-dee-da, da-da-dee-da, da-da-da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da. I'm doing 1 and or 3 and or something close to that. Let me go back and just listen for the rhythmic motif. Then I break it out and do some syncopation here in measure 13. Bop, boop, bop, 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 bop. So just a traditional kind of harmony for a 2-5-1 to C major. Bop, boo-da-da. So I do like 2 lower chromatic notes there, the A and the B flat, going up to the B, which is the 3rd here. I think I may have played an E flat because that's a common sound that I like, which is like a G augmented triad. And then I resolve to the 6th here. I kind of play the A over the C major here because look what I do. This A sharp, which is highlighting the sharp 11 at the E7. I do that again here. There's that 3rd to 6th again. So there's another just major 2-5, but so I do like a just like A, then A. I'm really featuring the top note here. A, G sharp, G, F sharp, just chromatically down. Then E natural because it's the 7 here. And I'm just bouncing off the note E here, just picking a note, and then as I get lower, I pick a lower note. And then here I'm doing a bunch of like enclosures. So E, enclosure, half step up, C sharp to the C, then below to the sharp 11, the B, then above here, ba-da-da-da. So I do a bunch of just like chromatic stuff. I'm just dancing around the notes, and don't get too hung up on every individual note, like I'm saying, but I'm really kind of just like giving one resolution note, and I'm using some chromaticism above and below to kind of dance around the chord to keep the kind of the tension moving. So I'm not just like playing 4 chord tones there. And then I finally actually resolve there. A lot of like enclosures here, chromaticism, and then 7 1 3 5 7 9 root 1 or 2 1. Okay. I was big on triads here apparently too. So if you look at measure 30 with the C major, I'm really hitting some chord tones. And I'm just leading through it. I just decided to jump up, jump back down. It's just chromaticism, enclosures, the stuff I teach all the time. But I'm just doing it in a weird rhythm. Bop, boo da 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 do da da do da 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 dee ba da. Just kind of an off kilter rhythm there, instead of just a flowing 8th note line, which I do get to later. But then even here on the C major chord where it goes 1 5 1, I'm doing like a D major triad over the C major here, which kind of gives this sharp 11 sound. But I'm doing these big open triads here. And then here over the C major, same thing. I'm doing that sharp 11, that F sharp there. I believe that's a high A. It's a lot of ledger lines. So let's hear this next part. There's that A sharp again. So there's just a minor 2-5 to A minor. A lot of enclosures, a lot of chromaticism. You're going to hear a lot of that in this solo because I use them all the time. So I'm using basically just like lots of kind of sounds that are not really in the key of F major, but like that kind of like feeling of like these like super altered notes over the C7. I'm using, the C sharp is a flat 9, the G sharp which is like a flat 13 or sharp 5, kind of like just altered sound, altered notes. The idea of all this stuff, and I'm talking about a lot now, not gonna talk about every alteration I do, but the idea is to create tension in some way. I'm creating tension with intervals, jumping around with the range of the instrument, but I'm also creating it with the harmony and then making sure I land. If you notice, boom, right on the F major, I'm landing on the C natural. That's right on the 5th. So it's eventually gets there. And I think intent matters more than anything when you're improvising, especially when you talk about harmony and creating tension. It's about, what am I trying to highlight? Well, I'm highlighting some type of tension and then a nice release. So the tension is all these weird notes and intervals that aren't necessarily in that key. So it's C7. I'm playing C sharp, G sharp, D sharp. You know, those notes aren't in that chord. But it's because I know they're not in the chord that it's always leading, right? Rhythmically, shape of the line, everything's going towards this strong resolution. And it basically, people listen backwards. It justifies what I played before it. And then we land on the F major there. That's a sound I use a lot when you have like a dominant 7 sharp 11 by itself. So I'm basically doing, where the A flat is the flat 7, C is the 9, the E is that sharp 11, and then I kind of like just scale up here, but really the main note would be the G, which is the 13, or the G sharp, which is the flat 7 again. Let me back that up a little bit. So there we go with some triplets. Triplets and using rhythms like that are a great way to change the texture of the line. So instead of just I went and you could look at the downbeats, but E, A, F, which is this chromatic line leading to the G sharp, which is another sharp 11. Apparently I was on a sharp 11 kick during this trip. Okay, so there, and over this D7, a lot of chromaticism once again. Then here's the 2-5. So I instantly start doing like an E major triad, which I've taught before. If you do a 2-5-1 a C, over the G7, you do an E triad. It gives you this really cool sound of like G13 flat 9, because the E over the G7 is the 13, the G sharp is the flat 9, the B is the 3rd. Right? So I'm doing this chromaticism, but that's kind of the sound I'm thinking. I set it up, and then all hell breaks loose. All this crazy stuff. But then as soon as I get to the C major, I don't just do a regular resolution. I play like a D major triad again, which gives you that sharp 11 sound, but I keep the same shape because I was going do, de, do, de, do, de, do. Then the resolution. Okay. So it kind of, I keep the same shape all the way through the line, but harmonically, you know, I'm doing that tension over the 5 chord. And then when I resolve, I'm still kind of giving tension even over the 1 chord. Let me back that up. Right, even right there, what I'm doing is I'm leading up. You can see it on the line. It's just kind of going up and up and up. And yeah, I landed on like G sharp over the A minor. It gives whatever, if you want to think minor, major 7, whatever. But a lot of natural notes in here. I'm kind of staying in the key. But everything leads back up to that B flat, 3rd of the G minor chord. So harmonically, even though it's kind of like somewhat ambiguous because of the amount of chromaticism, I eventually get back in the right key. So that's a famous sign. So using the G sharp over the C7 is a flat 13. Sorry. Right? G sharp, and then you got the flat 13, then the flat 9 there, then C, B flat A. I just played it up an octave altissimo. So that's just a common little lick there. I forget who really, was that a Sonny Rollins thing? I don't know. A million people play that. there's that thing I was talking about before over the B flat, or yeah, the B flat 7. I think I played E natural though. It's probably I don't know what I played there. But yeah, that's basically the notes I was using before. That's up top. Same thing. I'm just trying to figure out rhythms and just picking notes that kind of lead me enough space to land me on a nice chord tone on that C major. And then I continue the rhythm there with the triplets. There we go with these triads again. So, if you just slow it down, kind of doing like a minor 2-5 to A minor or D minor. So it's really just like standard kind of bebop, Boda third, Baba flat 9, da da 5, whatever it is. I'm just adding extra notes to create the rhythm of the triplet. So it sounds maybe more fun or more exciting or just a different texture or more complex than it actually is, because I'm just adding extra notes there. But that's kind of what's going on. So there, I start by playing kind of a standard, I'll play down an octave. And normally, I guess I would play the A harmonic minor scale because going minor. Or something like that. But instead I go. So that's a sound doing a C sharp triad. Leading to A minor. It's a cool sound. So it's the same as playing the third major triad when it leads to major. So like if I was going to A major, I'd probably play that same sound, but it really sounds cool in minor as well because C sharp is definitely not in the key of A minor. So it gives this out sound, but there is some thought a little bit behind it. So just a lot of chromaticism in here. It's a lot of extra notes. That's the biggest analysis I can give you. Is there's a lot of like extra notes in here. And once again, a lot of that is probably, I'm trying to get inside my own head here from 5 years ago or so. I was probably saying like, I'm just going to keep playing a lot of stuff. I also don't remember what we were talking about right before this in the lesson. So I may have been like, hey, I'm going to show you how to use a lot of chromaticism and enclosures here because that's what it sounds like to me. This is even more than I usually use. I'm really kind of pressing the issue here. But yeah, a lot of chromaticism, but it eventually gets there. That's, I don't know what's up with the E flats there, but right, just I'm playing A minor, but I'm thinking about the rhythms. I'm not just going da 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 da. Da ba doodle dee da, be da doodle dee da. I'm also doing a different shape to the line as well. And then we got a bunch of D7 crap coming up here. Okay, so it's a dominant 2 chord for 2 bars, and I don't know, I play just a bunch of fast stuff. I guess a little bit of like dominant bebop. Even the first line. I do it twice there. So that's a good sound to always have in your back pocket, dominant bebop. The fact that there's 6 and then he writes 5 and 6, I don't know if that's actually what I played. David, you would know better than me, so great job writing this out. But yeah, I was just thinking, move my fingers really fast. So don't overthink that section. But then here it's a 2-5. Right, just upper lower enclosure, or upper lower enclosure, diatonic up top, chromatic below. Once again, I'm just thinking of notes outside the chord to kind of create tension because I know I'm going F, F sharp, G, land on a chord tone there. And then I kind of do this same line. And then when I resolve, I just keep that shape going, and I keep it going for the next few bars. And it's not an A flat. That's a low B flat, and that can't be a low A either. I think it's a low B or B flat there as well. But what I do here, if you just look at the top or the downbeats, ba 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 ba. I'm just kind of playing a quarter note line, but I'm adding just this note D underneath every single time, just bouncing off of it. And then here over this major 2-5, going to F once again, A sharp, C sharp, G sharp, A sharp, F sharp, G sharp, D sharp, and F sharp. Literally, this entire measure, I don't play one single note inside the actual chord of C7. I don't play a single C, E, G, or B flat. Oh, actually, okay, so I do play a B flat, the 2 A sharps. All right, but besides that, though, I'm playing a whole bunch of other stuff that's not in the key, and I wasn't thinking flat 9, flat 13, sharp 11. I wasn't thinking that. I was just thinking like play outside of C7. So basically play roughly C sharp or F sharp or something, and then resolve here. Da 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 da, and then some more late resolution with ba bo da da da, upper, lower, lower, upper, resolve on beat 3. Okay, ba bo do da da. So I don't give the resolution right away. So rhythms are a big thing for me, right? Bo bop, bo 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 bop, bo do da, bo bop bop. I'm thinking these like syncopated rhythms. Do gak do 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 gak go do gak go gak ba ba da ya do stack it boo. If there's a drummer there, they would have been all over that. Do da do 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 da do do da do do da ba do da da ba da da boom, release, right at the top of the chorus there, or the top of that next section. So there I was really trying to like think about the rhythms and the overall phrasing and how it kind of built forward. But once again, there's a backing track, so it can't really do anything. C major, everybody. Hey, kids, don't go into school, and if they ask you to play a C major scale, play this, and then say, well, Dave Pollack played this. Your teacher should not be happy about that. But yeah, so I just basically played a whole bunch of stuff not in C major. And the cool thing about if you want to play outside of C major, just play sharps and flats, and you're cool. As long as you know how to get out of it eventually. Let me back it up a little bit. So I almost play something normal there. So I just rip up this like A minor thing, whatever. That's all in in A minor. This is a common thing. That would have been something normal if I decided to do that, but I didn't. I don't know what I was doing. Once again, these intervals. Man, I was stuck on that this day. So yeah, I did a lot of that. So right there, I actually, outlined the chord changes for once. Little part of like the sort of like an altered thing, but land on that seventh. Thinking about rhythms once again, though, I'm playing all this, and then I just do. Sometimes it's cool to just go back to a standard rhythm, because after all the craziness, the standard type of, when I mean standard, I'm playing like quarter notes on the downbeat and do ba do dee do do, kind of a standard jazz swing rhythm there. It feels like a breath of fresh air after all that other nonsense I was playing. So here I do like a half step up thing. So I basically play like, instead of D minor first, I play like D sharp minor. Right, that kind of just outlining of the chords basically. But I play up half step first, then but even on the resolution though, I keep that kind of shape going. So check out the shape here. So there, I played, I thought about the resolution, but then I played a lot of like, I danced around it again. I was thinking more about the shape. Sometimes, even if there's resolutions within a phrase, I might only think about the final resolution like 4 bars later. So, and that's kind of obvious here too, because I'm not trying to nail every single chord. I'm not trying to like land on each chord. If you're just starting out improvising, try to hit each chord. That's like the beginning stages, is try to actually hit chord, get to the next chord, get to the next chord, voice lead through, hit chord changes, all that stuff that I always teach. But once you're comfortable with that, you can start to like, sneak away from those chords for a while. Well, what's he gonna boom, and then you finally come back in. And especially if you're playing with a live rhythm section, if they have ears and they can tell that you're going outside, drummer might do something different, keys, chords might do something, and then you can all kind of resolve together, possibly. And that's when, magic happens when you're improvising. But here, a lot of chromaticism here. And then I play this E7. I sort of play E7. I have like 1 or 2 chord tones there. But once again, the shape here is more of what I was thinking of. So I'm going to start it a little before measure 117. So all of that led to the F major in 122 here. I sort of play B flat. I'm kind of playing the chords, but it's a lot of outside kind of like just shape type stuff. I'm thinking more about the shape and the rhythm. Right? This F major where I finally right? I actually finally go back to playing what would be considered correctly. So, because what I was playing before, I don't know if you could analyze that and call it correct. Is what it is. One more time, back it up a little bit. And then here I'd basically just play the melody for a couple bars, just way up. And then I play like an altered scale. All right. Over G7 kind of. I'm doing some more, little out stuff right there, but then sharp 9, flat 9, 5. Or sharp 9, flat 9. Yeah, it would be 5 at the end because that should be C major, the very last chord. And that's the solo, okay? So I know I skated over a lot of stuff, but as you can see, a lot of the stuff I was playing, and I probably analyzed it deeper than, well, let me put it this way. I know I just analyzed it deeper than what I was thinking. Yes, I know the changes inside and out. I've played this tune a trillion times. I know where the chords are moving. So when I go outside, I'm making a conscious effort to say, I'm playing outside. But remember, when I'm playing outside, yes, certain times, I played that triad here, I played this. But I might just input that sound in a small little part, but I'm just going to fill it up with other things. If I want to fill it diatonically, I'll fill it diatonically. If I want to fill it without stuff, I'll just play, I'm playing a 2-5 to F. I'm just going to play stuff in F sharp major for a while. I might play that A triad, F sharp major stuff, resolve to F or whatever. It's the idea of what is the overall sound I want to create. And when I say sound, I don't mean tone quality. I don't even mean necessarily harmony. What's the overall feeling do I want? Do I want it to be energetic, Do I want it to be more relaxed? Do I want it to be a breath of fresh air because of what I played? Do I want to create that tension and that almost that anxious feeling? These can be accomplished not necessarily only by harmony. You can do intervals. A lot of this was that creates an out feeling even if I'm playing diatonically. I did a whole video on how to sound out without playing out. I literally played, I believe it was a concert C major scale, but I was using intervals and articulations and just like different combinations and shapes of notes to create this like off-kilter modern feeling. People have been playing modern jazz for 60 years. Okay. Some more probably. But you know what I mean? It doesn't have to just be, oh, you're playing outside harmonically, although I do that a lot in this solo. When you go through this, if you want to learn some lines, I wouldn't like memorize, or I wouldn't learn a line here and play it note for note. Nothing in here. Listen, you could like whatever you want. I'm not going to tell you to like it or not like it. But a lot of what I'm playing here is just like I'm thinking of a concept and then I'm trying to execute the concept in real time. It's also why I tell you to never just memorize really complicated long lines or even transcribe big long solos and try to learn big chunks of it, because then you're just going to be copying and pasting. Figure out a small little idea and then mess around with it. And that's like this entire solo is small little ideas that I'm noticing that I'm trying to convey them to you, but then I'm filling it in with just other stuff in the moment. Like, you know, when I'm going and bouncing off that one note, where was that here? Like, you know, really, I'm just thinking of like boo 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 da, ba do 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 dee da. I'm thinking of like a rhythm that's ba 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 resolve, ba da 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 resolve. But I'm just filling it in with other stuff. What would sound cool? Oh, jump down to the same note each time while the top note changes. It's not like, oh, I'm thinking of the specific third and the fourth and the sharp fourth and the no. I'm just like, how can I get from this G sharp up to that note D? Or maybe I was trying to go to play E, something like that. Whatever. A lot of chromaticism, a lot of dancing around the chords, but the biggest thing I think for you to take away in this is the shapes that I'm using, the rhythms I'm using, and the phrasing I'm using is very specific. If you play all the same harmony that I did, with all the same chromaticism and all those out stuff, but you played it mostly linear with more standard rhythms, it's not going to sound the same. It might sound better, but I think what I did was I combined kind of the out shapes with the out harmony. So if I only had one or the other, it wouldn't have been what I wanted in the moment. And I'm not going to say it would sound worse. Definitely going to say it would sound different. And usually when I'm playing, I'm trying to combine multiple elements together anyway. So in this moment, I was really combining, you know, a lot of chromaticism, a lot of the more out harmony things and non-resolutions with some more open-ended rhythms, open-ended intervals, and really keeping you off your toes. Or keeping you on your toes, I should say. All right, I hope you enjoyed this little analysis of my solo on There'll Never Be Another You. If I missed any spots in here or you want me to further clarify anything that I talked about, please let me know in the comments down below. I love hearing from you. I love hearing all your comments. I love reading them. Even, you know, the hate comments, which I haven't been getting too many recently, I guess, you know, because I'm doing so much just straight education videos, but I miss some of the hate comments. So if you have a creative hate comment, throw that in the comments down below as well. If people who don't watch this section are going to read it and be like, dude, you're being such a jerk. But, you know, it'll be our little secret. Once again, if you want to pick this PDF up for yourself, completely free, go to the description down below, davepollack.com/TWNBAY. And if you want to pick up a PDF thing that'll actually increase your technique, I don't know if this will increase your technique too much. It might be fun for you. But if you really want to work on some things to know how I got to these larger intervals, some different shapes, some different rhythms, different ideas, all over major keys, I do have a PDF book, strictly major. It's on sale for $5 off, which is 20% off, usually 25. Now it's only 20. Go to davepollack.com/store, use code strictlymajor, get the discount, get the book, get practicing, increase your technique. And then you can apply the million other things I teach here on YouTube and other places to your playing, and you're going to be on the right path. Thanks so much again for watching this video. If you have any other solos you want me to analyze or any other video ideas for you that you want to learn from me, please let me know in the comments down below. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.